Good afternoon, everybody. And it's a happy day today because it's Thursday and it's 3 for Thursday. And today I've picked a real cracker, probably more for the reason that I've got one of these back in my collection again. But the humble Sodbuster, it is probably the most underrated knife in the knife community. Never mind the slip joint community, traditional community. It's just an amazingly simple, straightforward knife that cuts, it works, and even the cheaper forms of it can be just an amazing work knife just because of the construction. And one is probably for me, there's no look, you've got this shape. You have this sort of, this lovely swerve shape, the curved shape of the handle. It's really simple and plain. Now, this one above is not a Sodbuster. This is a number 43 pattern, but it will come into the story later on. I sold my GEC 71 last year sometime. I needed to get something, I needed to sell something, so it went because I was using this knife up here. More to come. But so I never had it. I thought I wouldn't miss it because I had this and because I had the case Sodbuster. But do you know how things go? You get about 6 months overdoing something or whatever. And I started to miss it because it's such a lovely knife. But, again, I don't think they look outstanding. They're just a functional knife. And I really started to miss it. And then I seen videos of it, and I was watching Erica from Not Your Average EDC. Go over and check her channel out. Erica's a great one of a kind. She can stir the emotions up, but she's a knife lover, and that's all that matters. And she uses her knives much more than I ever will. But I do use my knives, but in a more gentle way. But anyway, the Sodbuster, I just think it is the classic pattern. And I'm going to show you the GEC because I think of everything, this is the one that always gets me. This is the one that always did. This is in green micarta. Looks a bit brown there, but it actually is green. It's a good green colour. Beautiful micarta. And this is my favourite bit, this big bird eye pivot on it. Just look at that. And it's got F&F for farm and field. And this is a series of knives that GEC do, which are working knives, more working knives, and knives that are put out there for working. Lovely big lanyard hole. This will get a bit of leather put onto it like the knife above there. But it's just a very ergonomic shape. It just looks as if it'll be comfortable in the hand. There's nothing too special about it. The blade is just, let me just get this out for you. It locks up beautifully. The sound of a GEC. Now, I'm going to have to say, like, bullnose. There we are. They got the bullnose on it because you can't call it Sodbuster because Case have the rights to the name Sodbuster. So this is a bullnose, and I think it's a bullbuster or something, the larger one of this. This one is in overall length, which is, I think, it's just, it's got a 2 3/4 inch cutting blade, and overall it is about 6 3/4. Yeah, or maybe 6 7/8, but it's close. It's a perfect knife size, great cutting edge. Just works. Not super thick or thin. It is that all round knife that you can take to do. You can do a bit of prying with it. You can do a bit of whatever you want with it. It's just that perfect blend of a blade and a knife. Little drop point on it. It's not really what you could nearly call it a clip or a drop. It's just a little. You can see it there. I put the knife up and show it. It's so minimal. But there you go. You can see it there. It's a little drop point. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. But it's a Sodbuster pattern. And in the hand, it's just stunning. It's fat. It's got, good girth on the scales when you hold it. And bearing in mind, it's meant to be a work knife. When you hold it, you feel completely secure. This little bit here curls around the end of my finger and lets me feel absolutely secure in use. And I've used these many and many a days. And for every little job you can think of, be it whittling, anything, you can use this knife for anything. And that's what's so good about it. I'm going to slam this down and see what happens. Right. I'm doing this on purpose because when I got this knife, and I first opened it. This was brand new out of the tube. I got this from a lovely fella. It was absolutely brand new, nothing to do with him, but I had blade wrap, and this often happens. No, there's nothing there now. Good, because I spent a bit of time myself, and I just hand sharpened this myself, and I took quite a bit of stock off it. Well, said quite a bit, but I made quite a nice job of it. It's nice, and it's as sharp as all get out. Um, and that can happen with GEC. 'Cause, I mean, we all say they're perfect, and they are. They come perfect, except when they get blade wrap. Sometimes on these longer knives, they do get blade wrap, and 71s are renowned for getting it. But look, they are trying to get them out quickly. They're trying to get them out to you, and they're trying to make them in numbers that you can get. So sometimes, I don't think it should happen, but it does. And you will get blade wrap, especially on a number 71 bull nose. It doesn't bother me because I can sharpen. I just get a couple of stones out. I said, oh, blade wrap, and I sharpened it. And then I'm sitting sharpening and thinking, well, should you mention it? And the answer is yes, I do mention when it happens. I've had plenty of 71s that didn't have blade wrap, but this one did have. But it's not a problem. I mean, half an hour later, once I took this back, a fair little bit, it's gone now, thank God. And I hadn't tested that since I sharpened it. I just set it in close because I wanted it to, if there was blade wrap still there, I wanted you to see, even after one sharpen, it wasn't enough to take it out. But as it happens, it was. Now, I did take a bit more than what I would normally take off when I'm sharpening a knife, but that's all right. It's there, it's done. But this is without doubt my favourite Sodbuster. Absolutely. Now, these ones are pretty reasonably priced when they come out. If you're buying them from factory or buying them from the retailers, these are pretty reasonable. These are under £100. This is a case Sodbuster, and this one's in CV. This was kindly gifted to me by Gizmo Car. This is a well-used and loved knife. This is slimmer than this. This is for when I'm in my tracksuit bottoms or whatever. This one's more suitable. This is lovely in my jeans. That one's lovely in my jeans. But this, when I've got a pair of trackies on, is much lighter. Got that same shape, that little drop point at the end. It's a stunning little knife. Thinner in all round stock and thinner, if you can see the girth. Look at the difference in the girth in that. But I mean, these are about £60 or £70 over here. Maybe a bit more, but maybe, £60, £70. This is in beautiful bone, jigged bone. It's not just gorgeous. Look at that. Case are masters at doing the covers. They really are. But this is, again, it does everything this does, just in a lighter version. Really agile because it's so light. So easy to stick in a pair of shorts or you. And these are, I mean, some of the knives you have are much more expensive. But for a £60 knife, I just think you can't get much better than that. I mean, even looks-wise, I mean, this just looks like a working knife. It's very plain. This looks like something you could carry as a proud carry. Do you know what I mean? This really is. Although there's something in this simplicity and the big pivot that really does do it for me, I have to say. Now, the 71's a little bit bigger. Not a huge difference, just a little bit bigger. To me, that's a proper heavy-duty work knife. This is a light-duty work knife, just due to its size. But a gorgeous knife. I really highly recommend, if you haven't had one of these, get the case Sodbuster. I'm not going to tell you because you can get it in stainless or you can get it in the CV. I like the CV because I love patina that comes on the blades. I mean, they just, there you are. You can see, sometimes you can just catch it and you'll look at that. Look at that colour when you get proper patina on your knife. It's lovely. Natural patina. So you have that. And then you have this version. So this is probably the more expensive, maybe about £85 when they're new. This one say 60, 65. I'm really not sure. Somewhere about that. And this one was from JB, the star himself. And he sent this to me years ago. He was getting them from one of those online magazine things, and it was used as his channel knife for giveaways. And this is a Sodbuster. It was from, I don't even know what the name of the company was. I don't think it's on here. It's got carbon steel on it. There's no name. It was one of the magazines that sold the cheaper knives out in the States. And he bought a stack of these. In fact, I think he kept selling the company out of them. But they were only $10. And there was a stage where if you bought four, you got them for $5 each or something. It was something silly like that. But he bought a stack of them and he sent me one, which I'm really grateful for. But the story behind it was at that time in YouTube where there was a lot of fighting over Rockwell hardness. And JB just thought, well, I'll send this in to one of the boys. I think it was probably Love Them Knives or something. He sent it in to get Rockwell tested because he didn't know it, didn't tell. It just said carbon steel, didn't say what it was. And he wanted to have a rough guess what it was. And it didn't matter to JB because it was a knife he was using and he was giving other people and they were using it, and it seemed a great knife. But when it came back, lo and behold, from the Rockwell hardness test, these were in 1095 steel. And they were reasonably Rockwelled. So for $10, and that was the bargain. I said, look, he bought a stack of them. I think he sold them out, I don't know how many times. He made them a fortune on this knife. But $10.95 in this knife, it's in wood. I think it's probably one of those woods. It's compressed with some sort of glue. It'll be just compressed wood, I think. It's very shiny, very soft, very light. But lovely in hand. It's got that thick stockness. If I take it to, it's about the same thickness as the 71. A really lovely knife. Now, you're not going to go out and get one like this, but even if you get one in a carbon steel that's not maybe up there in, just a regular carbon steel, it's perfect. If you can sharpen, or if you've got a couple of rods, you can bring these back in no time at all because they're thin enough behind the edge just to bring them back and use them again. I mean, you don't need to come up to, 600 grit, and this will be a toothy edge. It'll cut anywhere. It'll cut anything. It's great for just an all-round beater. So this is, I just love this. A $10 knife with $10.95 was just a win-win bonus for JB at the time. So a lovely knife. I'm really glad to have this one back in my collection again. This case one that I was given, I love this. This is like a summertime lightweight one, or even around the house in your jammy bottoms. I always have a knife on me. I don't wear jammy bottoms, mind you, but you didn't want to hear that, I know. But in shorts or in a pair of tracksuit bottoms, that's the perfect carry. This will do you in any. It'll do you as a work knife. It'll do you as an everyday use knife to throw in a drawer. It'll do you in your get out, your go bag, or whatever you want to call it. A super knife to have that's easy to maintain, easy to sharpen, takes a screaming edge. And now, there's another thing about 71. Sometimes you had to give them 2 or 3 sharpenings to get to that good steel. Not sure why that is, but once you get to that good steel, it's usually only about 2 or 3 sharpens and you get the good steel. I think I've already passed that mark because it took quite a bit off because of the blade wrap. But if you haven't got one, make it a point of something to get. And if you can get this, I think this is the one to get. But the case is absolutely... And they seem to take more care on their case Sodbusters than they do a lot of other patterns. So this is definitely one I want. The CV I recommend because I like CV, but if you're a stainless man, they do a high polish, which is Case's trademark. These, I mean, you can get this sort of knife anywhere. And if you just want a beater, buying a $10 or $15 a pound knife for a beater, fantastic knife for doing that. The story behind this was I got rid of this because of this. This number 43, I got this. And then I was using this more and more. And I thought, well, I don't really need my 71. I need money to buy such and such. So I let this one go. And again, it was about, I don't know, maybe less than a year ago, but somewhere close to that. And for a while, I didn't miss it because I had this. And it was the winter time. And it's coming now back into that spring again. And that's too heavy for my pocket. That's a heavy, big bone knife. It really is. Let me show you it up against this. It's very similar to the number 71 and the Sodbuster. The Sodbuster pattern. You can see that lovely swooping handle, but it's a much bigger blade. You can see that's a much bigger blade. Great work knife, but it's heavier than most. It's heavier than this, and this will sort of be when I got my jeans on, I'll throw this in. This, I don't know. I don't know when I'll use it. I know I will because I think I just love this bone. This is Frontier bone. It is gorgeous. Beautiful big work knife. So, it'll get used just maybe in a different way. And that's good. That's good. I can find maybe more ways to use that. But this will now be my main Sodbuster. So this will not look as pretty as this in a couple of months. I don't force patina, but it'll get used for eating my steaks or anything that I've got, or barbecues coming up. This is what I'll use to eat with. So, the Sodbuster. Do I recommend you get one? I definitely do. Does it matter what one you get? Not really. If you can sharpen, nothing matters as far as knives. That's my favourite. These are a real pretty, but also effective using knife. And buy yourself any type of one just to see how useful they are and how much work you can get done with them. So there you go, 3 for Thursday, the simple Sodbuster, but it's anything but simple. It is engineered, it is comfortable in the hand. It has, if you buy the good blade steel like 1095, you have got an amazing work knife that takes minimum amount of maintenance. There you go. These are not knives you take apart, so they're easy to use. Just give them a flush out, clean out, air out, whatever you want to do to them. And I hope if you haven't got one, this has maybe sparked your interest and you'll maybe find yourself one. So there you go, Paddy's away. Have a great Thursday, and thank you to everybody who's going to join in today. And please, if you've not joined in on one of these, please do. Just get in, show 3 knives, any patterns, any knives, locking. This is open to everybody. Just 3 knives and talk about them. You don't want to do this one because I've done it. So just pick another 3 knives. If there's a little point to the 3 of them together, that's even better. It tells a little bit of a story. Please hit the like button on your way out. And if you want to hear more videos, see more videos, hit the bell button and become a subscriber. It's free and I'd love to have you along. Right, take care. Bye-bye.